just give us a while. We're just trying to sort out the logistics behind so that we can go live. Good to see 9 people here watching. Hi guys. We have Sam with us today, so that is great news for us. She has kindly done the work with regards to the Maiar research, so she's going to be sharing a lot more of that with you guys. So yeah, we'll share a little bit more of the agenda in a little bit. Just want to make sure that you guys can hear us nice and clear. Can you guys just let us know in the chat that you can hear us loud and clear? I understand the last time round I was a little bit soft. So I just want to be sure that this time round you guys can hear me loud and clear. Hey Evelyn, hey Henry, hey Sui. Where's the rest of you guys, man? Just let me drop in a text in the group. Let's see. Right. Let's just give people, it's 1:30 now, so let's just give people maybe another 2 minutes maybe before we start. It's the OG here, yeah, crypto in minutes this time. So thanks for joining in, guys. This is a really very interesting topic, for me. When I first joined crypto, Launchpads was such a big thing, right? Like, I think it was considered new, I would say, coming out from the 2017 run. And when we started, there were so many of these Launchpads, and I have seen how it has evolved. Well, it started with seeing how crypto in minutes was making so much money out of Launchpads. And then when we eventually got in, and along the way, we realized, as more retail got into crypto and got into Launchpads, oh man, the returns from it is wow, like wow in a bad way this time, from how much you could make to eventually as more people got in, right? So it's really a life cycle here, and I'm glad you guys really brought it up, because if it's not for this, we'll probably miss out on some of the important stuff that we need to take note in the process here of when we go shopping for a Launchpad. So especially for those of you who are new, maybe just before we start, of the group here, I see many familiar names. I know you guys have been around for a long time, but who is new to crypto here? Just let us know in the comments. Like, you just hear a couple of months, you've heard about Launchpads or NFTs or the crowd loan, you're not entirely sure. Just let us know if you are like kind of new, so that we can kind of get you to focus on the important stuff. And anyone? No. So we are all seasoned players here. Yeah, so I guess we're all seasoned players here. Oh, you, Evelyn, how old are you into the crypto space? Or how young are you into the crypto space? Okay, I'm gonna take this chance, guys. Please share it. Please share this link with people that you know, your friends. Yeah, please share this with your friends. Get them in to join us. We really appreciate you guys joining us and sharing with us what you would like to hear more about. It's really helping us too. So it's like helping us, and in return, we are giving back all the research that we have done with you guys, so that as a community we can grow. So that's really great. That's something we appreciate with time. We started off with the crowd loans and now the Launchpad. So keep the ideas going, right? I see NFTs is something that is huge, right? But it's such a big topic. I mean, there are so many people already going around discussing what are NFTs, and I think that's quite straightforward. We can potentially cover something a little bit more around what makes a good NFT, but Yeah, that's gonna be another huge show, kind of like the crowd loans, right? It's just big. All right. So I guess at this point we are just gonna start. But before I do, please subscribe, guys. If you haven't subscribed yet, you are already at the channel. Please give us a like. Please give us the subscribes. We've been very transparent with you guys. We're really trying to build a community here. We are looking for 1,000 subscribers, and like I always said, we are very close, right? We just need another 846 people more. So we are doing our best, right? We are really doing our best here to try and value add you guys. So you guys are early, you guys are the OG here. So please share it, right? We are also going to hold you accountable in terms of helping us grow this community. So if it really helped you, please share it. We need the subs so that we can do more stuff. We need it so we can get the resource to do more stuff. And then so like I said, we can only do so much, right? We really need your help to get the word out there and to share it with more people. If you are looking for more content, again, please go to the Discord, all right? We are building a totally new structure in our Discord now. We are really putting out a lot of our research out there. The recent ones are like Treeverse. We are also definitely going to cover Holoride as well. So that's the one in the Maiar Launchpad. So that's really for you guys to come on board with us, to know what we are really going into, what we are researching. And it's not a one-way thing, guys. We created specific channels for the respective projects, so that we hope that you guys can come on board, share that discussion, right? And the ideal situation, as you will hear later on, in crypto, you really need to be able to pool and to increase your chances. And I think Crypto in Minutes have said that tons of times. So that's what we are trying to do. We're trying to create that opportunity, within a safe space for you guys to get to know one another, be safe in that community, and to reach out, right? And to collaborate with one another in terms of NFTs, in terms of Launchpads, and even in terms of the metaverse eventually when it becomes live in time to come. So definitely do join us there. Sam or Sui or Easy, if I can get your help just to drop in the Discord link, please join us there. We are really setting up some good and exciting research that we have done, just so that we set you up for success as well, right? So yeah, I guess that's all. We are out of the way with the formalities. Yeah, no social media equals not gonna make it, right? No community equals not gonna make it as well. So guys, Crypto in Minutes, the Titan Squad, we are really trying to create these opportunities for you guys. So help us, share the word, and join us there, okay? So I'm just gonna start now. Just give me a while. I need to get back here. I'm gonna start the recording now. Fat, before I start it, am I soft? Because Fat is saying, is the volume low? Because I know the last time round I was a little bit low, alright? So I'm just going to bump it up a little bit. Is this better? Fat, is this better? Is the volume okay? I bumped it up a little bit, so I guess it should be okay. If it's still low, Fat, just let me know, and I'll just bump it up along the way, okay? Yeah, if you have any questions, just feel free to drop it in. All right, I'm going to start the recording and then we'll go. All right, guys. So welcome once again to another session of our stream here. So like I mentioned, today we have Sam along with us. And we really appreciate you guys sharing with us what you would like us to cover. And like I mentioned, I think Launchpads is definitely something everybody is super keen in. And it might be a misconception to say that it's easy to make money from Launchpads. Yes, it's true to a certain extent, but I think in the description that I left for the video, we can easily get burned as well. If you get into the Launchpads, the wrong Launchpads, or if you don't manage the IADOs appropriately, I think that can really cause quite serious consequences. Or in a worst case, you might even get rug pulled, right? So these are all things that we are going to cover, okay? So in the introduction, what I'm going to do first is just to give you a rundown of what we are going to cover today. I think this is how we start, just so that you know what you're getting yourself into and what you can expect out of us. So we are going to explain what Launchpads are. So for those of you who have been around for a long time, you might have got into Launchpads quite a bit, but do you really understand what's the role that they play in the ecosystem, or why are they important in the ecosystem? These are things that we are going to cover. How do you define what Launchpads are good or legit for that matter? That's something that if you are new especially, you would want to be able to understand that, simply because you don't want to be in a place where you get into a wrong Launchpad and you get rug pulled. We'll share a little bit of the experience. What to look out for as well when you're going for an IDO. That's something that we will cover. And then we will have a deeper look into Maiar Launchpad specifically, since you guys have asked for it. So I'm very curious, and I just want you guys to let us know in the chat what about it really excites you. So I know Gobin was asking for it. I think Weasel was asking for it as well. So let us know why specifically this one. I mean, there's so many Launchpads out there, and thank you guys for kind of bringing our attention to it, because after Sam and I did our research on it, we kind of understand why you guys are excited about it. But we want to know your point of view, specifically why you guys are so interested in it, right? And that's the whole basis of the discussion later when we get there. So just let us know in the chat, right? We were thinking perhaps for many of you who has followed crypto in minutes for a long time now, you probably got a good amount of airdrop from the ego that was staked. And maybe because it's free money, you guys are excited about making more money out of the Maiar Launchpad now that it's available. I mean, that's a valid reason for sure. But if it's not that, please let us know specifically why are you guys excited about these Launchpads. There's so many out there, but you guys specifically want us to be looking at this one. All right, so I'm going to move on next, or firstly, to what are crypto Launchpads, right? So we need to be able to have an understanding of that. So just going to go through this very quickly, because I think most of us have already got involved here, right? These are platforms that allow investors to buy into new cryptocurrency projects before the tokens are publicly released. So to kind of keep things simple, for those of you who are more familiar with stocks, you can kind of think of it as an IPO. So I think this is something that Crypto in Minutes is very well versed as well. If you follow him, I think in his community, he does share a little bit on what IPO he is looking out for. But it's essentially kind of the same thing, right? It's giving you early access to new crypto projects before they are publicly released. And that's why it's exciting. But for us to understand the three types of Launchpads that are available, okay, we need to understand the three different types of initial offerings. Okay, so there are three different types of Launchpads, but they all offer a different initial offering. So the first one that we want to take note of is called the ICOs. So if you can look at the browser here, ICOs are basically called initial coin offerings. Okay, so what happens here is that the project, okay, the people who created the project, they offer their token sales directly on the website. Okay, but what tend to happen out of this is that 99% of them turned out to be scams, and that really caused a crash in the market. Because if you think about it, right, they have full control over what they kind of want to do. They essentially, if I create a project called Project Titan Squad and I create a website for it, and I say each token is $5 and anyone can buy, right? Then once people start buying into the tokens that I have, I can essentially just take the money and go, right? So I have full control over what I want to do. So I'm not surprised that such a project or such a system like an ICO did not last for long. And then that's when the second phase came, and when we had IEOs. So we had so that is initial exchange offering. So as the name explains itself, self-explanatory, it basically means that the exchanges then saw this as an opportunity, right? So your exchanges like Binance, for example, or KuCoin, they saw that this was an opportunity. And what was it? They then went and they did the research for you guys. And they partnered with some of these legit projects to sell their tokens. So that gave them business, right? Because if you wanted access to some of these new projects, and we know that that is one of the quickest way or one of the best ways to make quick gains, then you would have to gain access through that exchange. And that's how they get the user volume and stuff like that. So it still happens today. I think for Binance, they have the Binance Launchpad. And for KuCoin, there's things like the KuCoin Spotlight. And if you think about it, I think KuCoin was, IMX was recently listed on the KuCoin side of things as well. So it still happens, but I would say it's not as common, right? And the reason why is because as with any centralized platforms, there is a limitation in terms of the variety or the number of projects that they tend to get on board with them. Just let me zoom this in a little bit. Again, I think it's a little bit small, so just give me a while. Okay. Yeah, okay, I think this should be better. Thanks for all that, guys. Yeah, so as I was saying, so I think IMX got onto the KuCoin SEX, right? So, but the number or the frequency of this happening is not high, because as with anything centralized, they tend to be quite safe, quite conservative, and they only take projects that they kind of know that will definitely make it and is so safe. And as a result of that, it's going to be so oversubscribed to, right? Because it's available to mass market through the centralized exchange. So that is another con of it going through that way. But that's why I think in recent times, the last option came about here, where we have the Idos, which is the initial DEX offerings, whereby decentralized exchanges or these decentralized launch pads come about, and they try to close this gap by allowing investors to buy into new crypto projects. And I would say that the risk profile here is a little bit more favorable for investors like us. So simply because I would say it's in between an ICO and an IEO, whereby these decentralized launch pads are kind of like a platform where they will still do the research for you guys. They will still do a screening in that sense, just to assess if a project is good enough to be launched on their launchpad or not. And through that process, right, they already are able to snuff out any scams or any projects that they think that they are going to be low performing, because no launchpad would want to launch a project that is bad, because that would then give the launchpad a very bad branding or a very bad reputation, right? So that is a win-win for them, and it's a win-win for us as end users as well. So through this process as well, that takes away the full autonomy of the projects to be able to sell their own coins, which means they would have to go through these third-party launchpads, which then make sure that these projects are legit. Okay, so every blockchain will have their own launchpads, right? So if I were just to come over to this screen, I think for us who are more well-versed, you can already see and be familiar with a couple of launchpads here. So the big names, I think things like PancakeSwap, things like BSC Pad, things like CDFI Fund, which I think Crypto in Minutes is extremely excited about. I think he has spoken about it quite a couple of times. And then when you move on to Ethereum as well, there's DAO Maker, there's Radium for Solana, Avalanche, Occam, which is part of Cardano. And there are more exciting ones that will be coming out and about, right? So Pylon Protocol is also something that I'm looking at, but I haven't really gone into much detail, but I think there's a lot of potential there as well. But in our own experience, I think from this whole list, you are already able to kind of tell which are the better performing launchpads. Things like PokerStarter for me is like straight out, right? It's one of the better ones. And DAO is also doing quite well, right? So that's what I mean by there's kind of like a branding, right? Whenever the launchpad does well, it builds a name for itself. So if you are looking to invest, you will kind of know that any project that goes on DAOmaker, any project that goes on TrustSwap or Cedify Fund or Poker Starter for that matter, will always be good, right? How good, it may vary, but you kind of know that, yeah, if you do get an allocation there, you should get some good rewards. Yeah, so that is basically what are crypto launchpads. And maybe at this point, I'll just chime in for Sam just to see whether she has anything to add on here.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. So actually, I just wanted to add a little bit on the IEX, initial exchange offering. So I think most of us here we are lucky in a sense that we know a bit of crypto. We know how to use MetaMask wallets. We know how to use our wallets to actually interact with smart contracts. But there are many people out there that don't know how to start. So what they will do, they will start out with the initial exchange offering. So that is actually a pros of the IEX. It's accessible for most people. However, when it comes to the initial exchange offering, right?
Sam, you are a little bit soft.
Okay, let me bump it up. Okay, is this okay?
Yep, you just keep going. I'll let you know if it's too soft.
Okay, so yeah, I just repeat on the last bit. So basically, for the IEX,
I think you can bump it up more.
okay, yeah. So for the IEX, basically that is basically more accessible for most people because not everyone knows how to use MetaMask wallets, and we are lucky in a sense that our community, most of us.
Yep,
Is
yep.
that is it still too soft?
No, but I think you are cutting up a little bit here and there, but I think it should be still okay for now. But I just wanted to add on as well. I mean, in the IEO in this case, right? Just to make sure that you guys are not being confused. An IEO is not a case whereby a coin that is already launched makes it into Binance, but it's actually the case where it's a new coin that is using Binance as a launch pad to be launched, right? So, but the case in which Sam was wondering as well, right, or she was speaking about when a coin makes it to, let's say, to Binance, right? At that point in time, you kind of know that, wow, the coin that you invested in is definitely going to be huge, and that is usually at the kind of like the last stage or the end cycle of an ideal investment, right? So we all want to be able to get in early, hold it, sell it along the way, maybe keep a small bag. And then eventually towards the end, the project that you're holding on to is just huge, right? And a centralized exchange like Binance or Coinbase decided to list it. And that's when, whoa, I think that's when your 100 or your 150x will come about. But yeah, so to Sam's point, can you guys still hear me? Can you guys still hear me? Hello, can you guys hear me? You should be able to hear me, right? Can you hear me, guys? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah. So I think that's what I was saying, right? When we got to the last stage, and um yeah, so that's what we were trying to speak about. But I think Sam was also trying to say, if you're someone who is extremely safe and you're not so comfortable in using the MetaMask, then you can look out for opportunities like for coins that who actually launch off based on exchanges, and you will be able to still, and if you are lucky and you can get in, then definitely yes, you are still going to be able to make a good amount of money there. But then you just got to take note that you are probably just not going to be as involved, because the number of projects that actually launch off an exchange like KuCoin or Binance is definitely not going to be as many as, let's say, you were to get on PokerStarter, or if you were to get on DAO Maker for that matter. All right. So thanks Sam, because I think that really set us up, or set me up kind of for the next page, or the next thing that I wanted to discuss is about why IDOs are necessary, right? Because like we mentioned so many times, the narrative of a centralized exchange like an IEO is so safe, right? And it's very conservative. And like I mentioned, they only list the safe options, which tend to be oversubscribed. And what that means for us as investors is we miss the potential of letting other good projects slip through the cracks, right? So they might be good, but just not good enough, as I would say, for SECs to trust in that, or to give them that faith and to list them that early, right? So if you only go through the SECs, then you're definitely going to be missing out on these opportunities. And that's why these DeFi launchpads, or exchanges for that matter, they are super important both for us and for the projects as well, because it gives us the opportunity to make money, or gives us that opportunity to gain accessibility to these good projects that are not picked up by the centralized exchanges. And it also gives the new projects to a chance for them to come alive and to be successful, because someone needs to give them a chance to be able to come out and to prove their worth, right? To be able to gain sponsorship, to be able to raise funds, to continue with their development. And that is why the DeFi launchpads and the exchanges, in some cases, are important. We need to give them a chance to come out. And when we invest in them, when they are that small, that really gives us the opportunity to make money, right? So that's what we need to take note of. So essentially, like I mentioned before, these DeFi launchpads and exchanges, the risk profile is a little bit more favorable, in the sense it's in between the ICO and the IEO side of things. But what's really important here is that it gives us access to a wider scope of projects. Like I mentioned, some of them may not be good enough to be picked up by the SECs, but it's good enough to really give you a handsome profit, right? If you just look at the couple of projects in PokerStarter, I think 10-20x is no problem, right? And that is something that it is great, right? Which is why I'm again saying that once a launchpad comes out there and they show their worth of being able to launch good projects, then you would definitely want to keep your eyes on that and you want to get in on those. But I'll share a little bit more on the next section, okay? So just a friendly reminder as well, you have to keep in mind that anything that is decentralized, right, you need to watch out for yourself, right? So this is not new, guys. We are crypto people, we play in the DeFi space. You know that anything decentralized, as simple as keeping your own keys to your wallet, you watch out for yourself, right? But that's also why we are here, and that's also why it's the importance of the community. So we are here to really help you to make sure you don't get scammed, to make sure you know your way around. So ask your questions, discuss away in our channels, and the links should be in the chat, okay? But with that being said, you can mitigate as much risk as possible, but rug pulls still do happen. And I think Sam, myself, and I think I know a couple of people in the chat here, we have experienced that, okay? And most of the time, rug pulls come about only because of two things, okay? One is because you don't do your own research, okay? And that's what we're trying to do for you here, right? We do the research for you so you kind of know that what's good for you to get in and what's safe for you to get in. And the second thing about what gets you into a rug pull is greed. Okay, it's when you kind of ignore the signs that you kind of think, this is a little bit fishy, or this is too good to be true. and you think, no, let's take a chance on it because crypto is this way, right? It's supposed to give us big gains, and that's when you get in, and that's when you kind of get yourself burned. Okay, so yeah, so we had a personal experience. Okay, we had a personal experience with CrossPad. Okay, so I will share a little bit more about what essentially have happened. Is that as with any rug pull, what happens is that the project, in this case CrossPad, just makes you think that they are a legit launchpad, right? In this case, it's not just the investors who lost out, but the projects who chose to go ahead to launch themselves on CrossPads are also affected because um, what happened here was that we invested our money into CrossPad, right? We bought their tokens, we staked it for a chance to be able to get into their IDOs. But what essentially happened is that the investors just took the project just took all the investors' money, the investments, and they ran away, right? So the projects themselves also lost out because this money that we put in with them, or this money that we used to buy the project's tokens, which wanted to get launched on CrossPads, they don't get their money too. So from then on, they have an uphill battle, right? Because their reputations are being affected, and they don't get the capital that they were supposed to get going through CrossPad. Okay, and I'll share that a little bit more as we go through the next portion. Okay, so maybe Sam, is there anything you want to add on again? I just want to make sure that you can be heard as well. So if there's anything you wanted to add on, you can try to do so now. Okay, I think Sam might have dropped out a little bit at this point in time. So I'm just going to move on first. Okay, so the next part is extremely key. Okay, so I'm going to be discussing about how do we define which launch pads are good. Okay.
Sorry, Brian. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Yeah, now I can hear you. All right. Do you have anything you wanted to share with them before I move on to the key part?
Nothing. So actually, I was wanted to talk about CrossFit as well. So that was the one that it's on our right folio list. So what happened was that one of the key signs that we chose to ignore was actually during the first IDO.
Sam, I think they can't hear you. So just let
You
me.
can hear me?
Yes, I can.
So
I can hear you through Zoom. But I don't think they can hear you. So, guys, just be patient with us a little bit. I'm just gonna try and do something from my back end here. Hopefully, we can hear Sam.
how about I share screen, then I'll be able to share sound?
No, I think it's something to do with me not being able to capture your voice through my system. Yeah, so just give me a while. Just give me a minute while I try and sort that out. Audio input capture. Let me try that now. Okay, Sam, you can try and see whether that's fine.
Yeah. So I was actually sharing about our CrossFit experience. Yeah, Brian, is it because
No,
I
I
was
don't think they
talking
still
with my
can
mic?
hear you. Oh, so now you can hear Sam? I hear some of you can actually hear Sam, but or maybe because it's being captured on my mic. I think. Yeah, so Sam seems very far away.
Yeah, I'm fine. My mic is here.
Yeah. Okay,
And
just again, just give me a minute. I'm just trying to sort that out a little bit. Here, just let me remove this. I'll add this. Yes, that will be input. Okay, Sam, you want to try?
Yeah. So I was sharing about our CrossFit experience, and one of the key, very dodgy sign that we did not even, we chose to ignore was they couldn't even do their own IDO well, and those who were not, yeah, those who were not whitelisted, right? They actually gave us allocation, so it's actually a very telltale sign already. And we still go ahead, yeah, we didn't get whitelisted, but we managed to get allocation. We were so happy, and we doubled down and we bought more. So that and yet this is what happened. Yeah. So that was one of the things that we chose to ignore. We were a little bit greedy that time, and yeah. So I don't think I will make that mistake again. Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. I think again, right, it really goes back to that point where I mentioned there's two things that will really cause you to be in a rug pull. It's either you are greedy, or it's really because you just simply didn't do your research, right? So in this case, well, it's kind of both for us. So in this case, we were both caught out, right? But we are here to share that experience with you, okay? So you guys don't get caught out in that as well. Yeah, so I'm just gonna move on now at this point in time. I think we've been staring at this for quite a long time now. So I wanted to share this site with you. Just let me bring that up. Right. So the next segment is a little bit around how do you define that what launchpads are good. Okay. So if you don't already know of this website, this is a website that you definitely need to stay in touch with. It's kind of like the Polkadot auction, the crowd loan, right? There was one that I always refer to, and this is one that I refer to as well for launchpads. Okay, so when you go to this website, it's called cryptorank.io, and you just click on the launchpads, right? They will take you to this page. So what's really great about this page is that it kind of once you get in there, it sorts out by which are the best performing launchpads. But you got to be careful how you want to use it, because the data that you currently see here can be quite misleading. Okay, so when you get onto the website, you see this, the way it's ranked. It's kind of ranked by their own default algorithm. Okay, but how most people access if a launchpad is doing well is by one of two ways. So one is they look at the current average ROI of IDOs, which means all the IDOs that they have, what's the average performance. And you can also look at the average all-time high ROI, right? Which means of everything that they have launched, what's the all-time highs that they have hit on average, and then they average it out. So you kind of know what is the maximum potential of that particular launchpad. But there are three things here that you got to be careful about, okay? Because the first number that you also want to access, you want to assess apart from the current ROI and the all-time high ROI, is the TGE. Okay, in other words, it's called the token generation event. In short, is TGE. In simple man's terms, it's just the number of IDOs they have conducted. Because for those of you who trade, or those of you who are very well versed with charts, you would know the term like the longer the stronger, right? So the higher the time frame, the more reliable the analysis on it. So it's the same here, right? It's like when you want an average of something, you need to have a big enough number to do that. So for example, if you look at ETH pad, yeah, the numbers here are huge, right? But they only have three. So what makes you so sure that when it hits 70 or 81 like Maker or Poker Starter respectively, they are able to keep up with the same performance? You wouldn't be able to tell, right? So I would say this is still quite risky at this point in time, as compared to, let's say, a Maker or Poker Starter or BSC pad or paid network for that matter. So that's something you need to assess. The second thing is, don't be fooled by the number of X's that you see here. I mean, objectively, yes, the higher the X's, the more profit that you are going to get, right? But the number one tip that I'm going to tell you here is you need to assess launchpads separately from the projects that are being launched in the Launchpads. Okay, and why I say that is because you need to, for one, assess how big the allocations are, right? So you imagine if, let's say, you are in BSC pad, right? And they tell you that the all-time high ROI is almost 50x. When you look at it, you'll be thinking, wow, this is amazing, right? It's huge. It's 36 projects being launched on average about 20x. All-time high is about 50x, right? But if you actually take a closer look at it, the way that the IDOs are being run on that Launchpad, the allocations can go as low as $5. So what good is a 50x? Okay, maybe some of you may say $250 is decent, but is it really decent when you take into account the amount of capital that you had to lock up to gain access to the Launchpad? So for example, if you needed 1,000 BSC pad to be able to get that allocation of $5, sounds ridiculous, right? 1,000 BSC pad is almost 2,200 to 2,500, and each time that you get $5 allocation, yeah, 50x, but you get $250, and how many IDOs do you need to break even? Yeah, right? So you got to think about that, and we got to be truthful to ourselves. How many IDOs really perform 50x? I mean, there are some that are going to make 50 or more, but I think we know that this is not a common or occurrence, right? And the last thing that you also need to take note when you look at this is you need to assess how accessible are these IDOs, or what are the barrier of entries to these IDOs. So what I mean by that is you need to sort of be able to assess what is the requirement for you to be what is the requirement to be able to assess the IDOs that are on the Launchpad, right? What is the amount that you need to hold in your wallet? What's the amount you need to stake? Is this actually worth the allocations that they are going to give you? Or are you entirely priced out, which means it's out of your budget, right? You cannot enter it, right? Because you need to take into account this is capital locked in, just like what I shared with you with regards to BSC pad, right? So I'm going to give you an example of Card Starter. Okay, so if you look at Card Starter, they run it in tiers, right? So in their words, they are trying to say that I am trying to make it more accessible, right? I'm trying to make it more accessible to everybody. So I created a lower lottery-based tiers, right? So for 100 cards, you might be able to get access to their IDOs already, right? But then you need to look into the fine lines, right? And you really need to ask yourself, with 100 cards, your lottery odds is 10% and your pool weight is 1x. So pool weight here relates a little bit more to like the weighted means that I shared with you when we were doing the Polkadot crowd loan, right? Whereby your contribution divided by total contribution times the total rewards, or in this case, the total amount of tokens that are available. And your pool weight is only 1, right? So then you ask yourself, 100 cards, you go and see, card starter is almost $8, and this is taking into account that we had a correction today, right? I mean, if you don't already know, market's quite red. It's $8. So yeah, okay, so you're gonna pay $800 plus minus to get this opportunity. Is it really worth it? But if let's say I want to get a guaranteed allocation here, whereby I want a bigger pool weight of 12x, 22x, then I need 16,000 cards, which is 16,000 times 8. That's what I mean by I'm priced out, which means I'm definitely not going to lock in $800 of my capital here for a 10% chance of a pool weight 1x. But yet at the same time, I'm not going to be able to afford a 9,000 times 8. That's like 800, I don't know, 72,000 if my maths is right. Just to get an allocation here, right? Even if the IDOs are doing extremely well, I won't be able to get in, right? So this is what I mean. These are the things that you need to consider. What are the requirements for you to be able to gain access to the IDOs, and if you are priced out, right? So The only way around it, and I will emphasize this again, and I think crypto in minutes again, time and time, he has said the same thing. This is why we encourage collaboration, right? It's the only way that you can move ahead in crypto to make big amount of money, and that is when you need to collaborate and you need to pool, right? And that is again what we're trying to do with our Discord, our Telegram, whereby we build a community there so that you guys have a group of people that with if you have similar conviction in a project. For example, if you really think that card starter is great but you cannot get in, right? If there are 5 people, 10 people in there who have that same belief and conviction in card starter, then you might put in X amount of money each, right? And be able to gain access to this IDO and make money as a whole. So it's a win-win for everybody. And this is just about Launchpads. You're going to come to a point where you're going to be discussing NFTs, where the floor prices are, I don't know, 10, 20 ETH, right? Are you going to pay them all on your own? If you have the money, by all means, right? But most of us are not going to be so well invested into one. And that's why when you really need to form a pool of people and to be able to share that pool and to maximize your profits as much as possible. Okay, so time and time again, that's what we've been saying. So use the avenues that we have, that we are trying to build for you guys, so you can maximize your profits. Okay, and the last point here, yeah, you.
Yeah, so Brian, actually, I just wanted to add what are some of the best practices that we do as Titan Squad. So some of us are actually pulling together. While pooling requires both trust and transparency, and what we can do as a person, if let's say you are the leader of this pool, it will be good to keep track of the hashes and all this information where we can be accountable and make sure that everybody feels safe with the investment. Yeah. So how do you guys build trust? I guess the first step is to help each other, and especially do in the Telegram or the Discord. So there's some ways that we actually got to know more of our friends and our community, and therefore we have quite a bit of posts ongoing. Yeah, back to you, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Yeah, I guess that whole trusting thing and that transparency thing is super important. I think that's why again we do our best with the community, right, to try and get you all well acquainted, share the research, and when everybody contributes, then that's the best way for us to be able to make money. um yeah, so I just realized there's a couple of things that I wanted to share with you guys as well, right? So I'm not going to go through this. So previously when I said that the $5 allocation, right, that whole example is actually real. Okay, so if you can see what was being shared again on Reddit, yeah, you can stake so much, right, but you only get $1 to $40 allocation. So diamond is really kind of like, well, they recently just changed their tiers again, but diamond is really like 25,000 BSC pairs. And at one point in time, they were only getting like $40. After you put in 25,000 times $2.20, for example, if that's the price of BSC pad, that's almost 50,000. If you put, luckily, still not so bad, right? But if you went in all on your own, that's 50,000 of your capital locked up for $40. Even if it goes 50x, yeah lah, okay, give you 2,000, right? But what is 2,000 as compared to the 50,000 that you locked up, right? So I'm gold and I got $22 allocation, right? So this is the importance of it, guys. Like, you really need to take into account all these things here that I'm sharing with you. Like, these $5 things that I shared with you just now was not a joke. It's like real, right? So yeah, that's just something for us to take note. So the last part about how do we define if the launchpads are good. Okay, so if it's a new launchpad, for example, like the one that we're going to be discussing in a bit, the Maiar Launchpad, then the one thing that I would like to look at is the backers or the creators of the launchpad. Who are the people who really created it? So in this sense, right, I would say that for the Maiar Launchpad, it is legit in a sense whereby it's the people behind ego that created the Maiar Launchpad. Like they had so much belief in the need of having a solid DEX platform like a DEX or a Launchpad for them to be able to function properly as an ecosystem. So they did not want to leave it up to somebody else to do it, and they decided to build one or the first one on their own. So when you hear something like that, right? So they also built a wallet. So the Maiar wallet, where most of us stake our ego on, right, is the first thing by them. So you can already kind of tell that when that happens, is legit, and they are really putting in their resources to be looking at things like that. The second thing that I'll probably look at is also their social media platform, right? Like Crypto in Minutes again said, if you don't have social media here, then you're not going to make it, right? So we want to be able to know how active both the admins and the community are, because at the end of the day, a Launchpad is still like a sales platform. If there's no demand for it, then it's not going to go anywhere at all, right? So that is why it's important. Okay, so social media is the other thing that I want to be looking at. The other thing, the last thing, which is a good indication on as well, is the interface of the Launchpads. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example here, right? Like if we were to compare Polkadot versus, not Polkadot, sorry, PokerStarter versus CrossPad, the one where we got rug put on, right? So if you were to look at PokerStarter, they have at least revamp their interface or their website multiple times, at least 2 to 3 times, and each time, right, they really make it very, very easy for you to be able to participate in the IDOs, and that is a very simple thing, but it's actually a very, very important thing, right? So things like you can come onto their page, you can whitelist on the page, you can see everything that is coming up ahead, you can see the vesting schedule, you can claim your tokens on the same website. They give you a full rundown of what the IDO that you're going to participate in is all about. They even go so far as to create a dashboard for you to be able. Just let me log in so that I can give you a good example of what I mean. Whereby you can go onto your dashboard and you'll be able to see like everything that you have participated in, whether you have won or not, and stuff like that. So that's extremely like valuable in this case. So you can see everything that I kind of applied for. Did I win? Did I not win? Am I whitelisted? So these are simple things that you want to be looking at as compared to CrossPad, which is really kind of like, well, okay, the blue is a nice shade of blue, but I mean, apart from that, that's all that you are kind of going to get. Like, they just list out a few things there, want to submit your project. It's very simple, right? Because obviously if you are trying to gear up for a rug pull, you're not going to be investing a huge amount of your money. You just want to make something that people believe in, right? So think of it as when you experience that interface. Okay, when you experience that interface, it's like looking at a gameplay of a play to earn game. So how do you know if a play to earn game is worth investing in or not? It's when you look at their gameplay, right? And you tell yourself, wow, this is really developed very, very well. So it's kind of like the same thing, right? When you look at the interface here, and you can kind of tell what is going on there. Okay, so this is just a really, I just wanted to show you a good and one that is kind of like a rug pull project which we experienced at. Okay, so just let me see if we have any questions. Okay, we got no questions here. Thanks for bearing with us, okay, with regards to all the sound issues and stuff. It's the first time we are kind of doing it 2 people, so we were trying to get across some of the hurdles. Okay, so I'm just going to move on next to the last 3 things that I'm going to cover. Then I'm going to pass it on to Sam to cover the Maiar Launchpad bit. Okay, so the last part, we have covered quite a little bit on the introduction to what are Launchpads, why are they necessary, how do you tell a good one from a bad one. And I'm just going to go through a little bit, especially for those who are new, like Evelyn, right, regarding what what do you need to look out for when you participate in an IDO? Okay, so that again brings me back to Polkadot, to PolkaStarter here, right? Whereby what are the requirements for IDOs? What are the common requirements for IDOs, right? So most of the time, just for those of you who are new to Node, you need to register yourself. So they will usually ask for basic information, things like your social media handles, your wallet address, just so that they can verify you. You might have to do a quiz. You might have to do like social media related stuff. You need to follow their Twitter, you need to follow their Telegram, stuff like that, for you to be able to participate. Right, so I'm going to show you a live example here. I'm not sure if it's going to come out in time. I think because I'm running all the streams, it's a little bit slower than usual. Yeah, but I'm just going to leave it on first. But yeah, so basically that's what they will ask from you, right? Then the next thing you need to note is also whether do you need to stake your tokens or not. Okay, now that the screens are on, so this is basically how it's going to look like. You need to fill in your full name, your email address, your wallet address, your Twitter handle, the social media tasks, and they will ask you some questions, right? Just so that, again, to the point, you need to know what you're investing in. That's why more and more commonly there are quiz questions for you to answer. Yeah, so that's how a whitelisting or a registering process will look like. Then you need to know, right, if you need to stake or you don't need to stake. Okay, so for projects like BSC Pad, when I showed you earlier on, there is a staking requirement here, right? So you need to buy the tokens, go to their platform and stake. So you need to take note of that, because there are people who buy it, keep it in their wallet, don't stake, and then miss out on the opportunities. Okay, so if you need to stake, make sure you stake it. But for platforms like PolkaStarter, you don't need to stake it. You can just hold it in your wallet, and they'll be able to kind of do like a snapshot to know that you are holding the tokens and you are eligible for it. So that is the second thing. Then the last thing is you probably need to do a KYC, right? Know your customer. I think that's quite clear. If you're in the crypto space long enough, you will know what that is. So don't be surprised. It's just more to make sure that you are not a bot. Okay, so they will ask you to submit some documents like your identification and stuff like that, just so that you are cleared. Okay. Then the next important thing we want to discuss, and I touched on this a little bit already, is in relation to allocation, right? Guaranteed versus lottery. Okay, so I think when we first started, right, or now that I mentioned guarantee versus lottery, I think it's self-explanatory, right? But the implication of it is very, very important. So like I shared, like BSC Pad, when it's guaranteed, highly likely that the allocations are smaller. Because in order for everybody to get something, they need to go by the weighted means system, right? Like I explained many times before, and I won't go through that again. But if you go through the lottery side of things, you might get a bigger allocation, but you might win less frequently, right? So guarantee, yeah, so that is what you need to know, because you don't want. So for me personally, I have come to a point, or I have enough experience to say that I will probably not go for guaranteed launch pads unless I am a whale, simply because I know that unless I'm able to gain the lion's share of that total contribution, I'm not going to get much. And that whole BSC pad experience, or kickpad for that matter, some of you, is totally wrecked, and I cannot even make back my capital from the IDOs, right? Because not only the price of kickpad has dropped, but the allocations that I got from kickpad was so small, right? So that is why I would rather go for something like PolkaStarter. The allocations may be $200 to $300 on average. I may not win all the time, as you would have seen, but it gives me a bigger quantum for my profits, which means I don't need to win so many. Like, I don't need to win all. I just need to win some, and hopefully I win those that are good, like quality over quantity. But if you go for guaranteed, it's kind of like the other way around, whereby every time you will win something, but if it's $5 allocation, I rather don't win. It's like the amount of time you need to camp, find out when it's happening, log on, do the social media tasks, then you win that $5. Seriously, I don't think it's worth it, right? So this is something you need to take note of. Are the allocations guaranteed, or are they lottery? Okay. Then vesting. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about vesting as well. And I think at this point I'm just going to put it out there to you guys. Okay, I know we are running about an hour now. That's already quite long, and we haven't got to the Maiar Launchpad, right? So I just want to ask if you guys are okay to go a little bit longer, or y'all would rather do it on Thursday, right? So we normally kind of have like a second session that we are happy to do. We are conscious not to overrun a little bit. I should be done with my segment in about 5 minutes or so. That would take us to the top of the hour. Yeah, let us know if you guys are happy to stay on for a little bit longer, or do you want us to do it on Thursday so that we can go through the Maiar Launchpad in detail? Okay, guys, this is as much your show as ours, so let us know. For now, I'm just going to go through vesting as well. Okay, so vesting is extremely important. I overlooked it quite a couple of times, but that's why I'm here to tell you, whenever you participate in an IDO, do not forget to check what is the vesting schedule. Okay, so what is a vesting a vesting schedule is essentially the schedule of which the token will be dispensed to you. If you think that you participate in an IDO, 100% of the tokens that you bought in the IDO is going to be given to you when the coin is launched or listed on an exchange, then the answer is, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. I don't know whether that happened back in 2017 or 2018. Maybe Yeezy will be able to shed some light on that. But in this day and age, to be able to get 20 to 30% at TGE, which is token generation event, in other words, when the token get listed for the public to buy, if you get 20 to 30%, that is already considered very good. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example here. Look at this. This is Bit Hotel. I think it's quite promising. It was launched on Super Launcher yesterday, right? So this is what you need to look out for. Vesting schedule. So what does this tell you? It tells you that, okay, it's going to get, firstly, when the token is listed, you're going to get 5%. Then you have a 3 months cliff. So what's a cliff? A cliff just means they're not going to pay you anything after the first one that they unlock. So in month 1 or day of listing, give you 5%. 1 month later, not going to give you anything. Month 2, not going to give you anything. Month 3, not going to give you anything. Month 4, then they start to give you 5% every month. So can you imagine if, okay, in this case, if you just put in $100, okay lah, nothing much, right? Because it's so small. But if you're going to lock in whatever that you invested in here for a long time, because you're going to have 95% divided by 5. That's the number of months before you get all the tokens that you get in like all the tokens that you are going to, that's when you get all the tokens that you have invested in for. And that is a long time. Right? So what's the implication of this? If the project is good, right? So if I were to give you this article who really puts it in a very nice way, and I think this is Henry's favorite here, the Dark DAO, right? But essentially, if you get into a project that is not so good with limited upside, vesting is definitely going to be a problem, right? Because especially if the project don't have a solid roadmap and people are just looking to flip. Because the moment it gets listed and you only have 5%, right? You sell that 5%, what are you going to get? You're not going to get much. And if the project is bad, even with time, no one is going to buy into it. And when you eventually get all the allocation back, the price is going to be a rack price. And then you sell everything out at a loss. So at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, right? Which is why I go back to my point and say you need to look at it. Project is different from Launchpad. If the if the project is not good, even if you have access to it in the Launchpad, you can always say I don't want to participate because I'm not sure whether this is a good project or not. And this is the implication of it, because you don't want to be caught out, especially when there's a vesting period. But if the project is good, then that is good for you because it kind of forces you to save. right? So if the project is a good one, but it just needs time to develop, then you can expect the price to climb over a long period of time. So if you are someone with paper hands, then this is good for you lah, because you don't have access to your tokens, right? Which means you cannot sell. So then you'll be forced to save, and eventually when you get back all your tokens, the prices will be much higher. So these are things that you need to consider when it comes to vesting. Okay, so the three things you need to look out for when you participate in an IDO, again in summary, just need to know what are the requirements, like all your whitelisting and stuff, whether you need to stake or just holding the tokens in your wallet is good enough. What's the allocation like, and what's the vesting schedule like? Okay, so yeah, okay guys. So are you guys okay to go ahead with Maiar Launchpad? Okay, no one responded to that, but if no one responded, then I'm going to assume everything is okay. Okay, so I'm just going to pass on this time now that we have explained the end-to-end process of Launchpads. We're going to go specifically, okay, into the one that you guys have asked for. Okay, so I'm going to pass on the time to Sam now, who is going to share her screen, and just give me a while I set her up on my system. Just give me a bit. Okay, now you should
So
be
if you're
able to
on,
see her.
I will actually show a very quick um, demo of how to connect your Maya Launchpad, your Maya app to the Maya Launchpad. And you guys will see, I will also be going through some of the things I thought was quite interesting about Holoride and why I'm quite interested in it. So yeah, right when you're ready, let us know.
Yep, you can go ahead. I'm just trying to
Okay.
make sure that you can be seen clearly enough.
Okay. Okay, so for Maya Launchpad, right, one of the key things that Brian has already mentioned is that it's actually created by the Elron team in-house. So it's not like a BSC pad where a separate guy comes in and say, hey, I want to create a Launchpad based on the BSC blockchain. But in this case, this is created and endorsed by the actual blockchain itself, blockchain team. So that actually itself is already a very a good backing. And if they want their blockchain to succeed, right, they have to make their launchpad succeed as well. So that is something that gives me a lot of confidence. And Brian actually mentioned a lot on the launchpad tokens. When we buy these launchpad tokens, we hope that we want it to increase in value. We want it to pump 5x, 3x, 10x. But more often than not, I think a lot of us know that launchpad tokens don't do that. Maybe if you were to get it at IDO, yeah, probably we might go there. And we know that hope is such a dangerous word in crypto. So it's really important to understand why you are getting into this launchpad. So is it because of the launchpad, or is it because of the projects on the launchpad? Okay, so in Maya Launchpad, right, what you need to do is to hold ego for to be able to get into those projects. Okay, so how it goes, right, is like, for example, we go onto the project, and you guys can see here that it says here offered tokens, raised in public sale, eligibility tiers, and okay, register now. So what you do is you press connect. Okay, for me, I use the Maya app, so I'll click on Maya app. Then they will come out with this QR code. So on my phone, you guys can't see it, but on my phone, I am going to my Maya app. Okay, and I will go to the center button, the one in dark blue, and press Wallet Connect. So after I want to connect, a camera comes out, I will scan the QR code, and I'll press Approve on my phone. So now that I've connected to it, the website automatically refreshes, and you guys can see that my wallet is actually already connected to the Maya Launchpad. So I have already done my KYC previously, and you can see here that I already qualify for the 5th year. Okay, so it's because I actually already staking some Ego. So some of you guys, you're already staking for Max tokens. I hope that you have claimed it. Moving forward, Max will be quite important as well, but that's a separate topic altogether. But in general, for this particular project, there are 5 tiers. So it depends on how much Ego you have staked. So the more Ego that you have staked, you get more chance, more lottery ticket. You can buy more lottery tickets, and of course, with more lottery tickets, you get a better chance of getting the allocation. And let's say you were to get the allocation, it will be $200 per lottery ticket. Okay. So let me do a very, very quick analysis based on this, right? So tier 5, the lowest tier, all you need is one Ego. One Ego is around 300 USD right now. So you guys can, it's actually pretty low at barrier to entry lah. You just need to stake that one Ego and you'll be able to buy one lottery ticket. Okay, but if you put things in perspective, right, your one ticket is one ticket versus 4, 8, 12, 15. There's so many other, the other tiers have so much more odds than you. And let's say, okay, so maybe I have a bit more budget. I can go for the next tier. Let's say I go for the 10 Ego. So with 10 times more Ego, I am getting 4 times more tickets. Okay, not that bad, not the best either. And I also obviously will get 4 more times of the max amount of the allocation. So you'll be wondering, hey, can I cheat? Can I just put one Ego in 10 wallets? Okay, so answer is no, because you have to do KYC. So you cannot just put your 10 Ego everywhere. Okay, so what's my strategy for that I like to share is actually I'll be pooling with a few friends. Probably I'll be at least going for the tier 4 Ego, tier 4 10 Ego, and 10 Ego, like I mentioned, is $300 each. So that's 3,000 USD. Not everybody has that kind of cash. So if you can find a few friends and pull together to reach to this tier, you more lottery tickets. So okay, so next thing I'm going to show you is the timeline. Okay, this is the timeline. So I'm going to scroll in here. Yeah. Okay. So 4th November, they actually mentioned that you can start your KYC, and on 22nd November, the KYC will close and they will take a snapshot of how much Ego you have staked. Okay, so that means, right, if your friends are going to pool with you, let's say you are the person doing, you're the leader of this, you have to make, they need some time to unstake. So they have to pass the Ego to you and you have to stake it before 22nd November. Of course, don't wait until last minute where everyone is rushing to do it. There might be some network issues, but we don't want to risk that, right? So on 24th November, you'll be able to buy the lottery tickets. 25th November, they will announce the winning tickets, and then 26th November, those winning tickets, they can go and claim their tokens, and then those who did not win will get back their Ego tokens. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the guide right now. Okay, so whatever I mentioned here was this is actually a guide that I will share in a link later on in our Discord actually. So basically, this is how you're going to expect your KYC to look like. For me, it's very fast. I think it's about maximum 1 to 2 days. I got my KYC approved, and then on the day itself, on 24th November, let's say I'm going for the 10 Ego, I can buy maximum of 4 lottery tickets. And let's say I really go for 4, okay? Then the next day, each lottery ticket is $200 in Ego, so you also must prepare Ego that is unstaked, okay? Then I would, when it's lottery draw on 25th November, say I buy 6 tickets in this case, but only 4 tickets won the lottery. So this means that I have 4 times 200 allocation. I have $800. I can buy $800 worth of Holoride tokens with Ego. Okay, are there any questions? Okay, great. So what happened? Okay, then you'll be thinking, hey, what happened? I buy six tickets. What happens to the other two that did not win? That means I can still go and reclaim this Ego for those tickets that I did not win. So that's kind of fair, right? You buy Ego and if you don't win, you can get it back. Of course, there is some risk to that. I would say that we all know that after an IDO, the price tends to drop a little bit. At least if there's no more projects ahead, there might be a little, there might even be a dump. But we have to be careful, and you have to decide for yourself if this project is worthwhile the risk. Okay, so for myself, I am already in Ego. I have been staking it for max, and then I have not sold it despite the temptation. I think Brian has sold it, right? Right, Brian?
Yeah. I think for me, I sold most of mine away. Because like I said, right, you pay the price if you don't do your research. So I didn't see a launchpad like that coming, and I think Sam will also share with you about why we think this Holoride is kind of like big. So when I sold mine away, I was reinvesting into some of the other projects that I was looking at. Yeah, so I sold it away. I'm just thinking whether it's worth getting back in. So launchpads aren't so straightforward, right? Like, I mean, for me now, I'm in a tricky situation. Just thinking whether I think Holoride is gonna be able to give me decent returns if I were to go in at Ego almost at $300 now, right? So yeah, but I guess Sam, you would probably want to be discussing why it's such a big project. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Okay, I'll do a very quick, show you a very quick video on what is Ego. But essentially, sorry, Ego, what is Holoride? So essentially, it's a system, a system where Audi actually backs it for you to. Okay, so can you imagine, right? You go to Universal Studios, you wear this device, and you get to be part of the Transformers ride. So you can get to feel that you are part of something else, although you are moving in a normal car. So I will show you this video. Yeah. So essentially, it's you get to be part of a metaverse, and they are building this technology. So let me show you some of the partners that they have. Okay. Sorry, I using too much. Okay, so yeah, Audi is a backer for this. Porsche, Daimler, and Ford. So even Universal Pictures, Disney, and Discovery Channel are all collaborators with them. So that means that, right? Can you imagine when you are in the car, you are in an Audi car, and as your kids are behind at the back, they are probably bored, right? So what Audi wants to create is to create an in-car entertainment system where anyone can be moving along the car, but they can feel as though they're doing something else. They're probably on a spaceship. They can see the surroundings. They could be in Jurassic Park. But the whole idea is there's so much that you can do on that entertainment system. So if you think Netflix is big, can you imagine what is this Holoride is going to be? It's going to be even bigger. Yeah. Then you'll be wondering, VR technology, why do we even need to use crypto? So crypto actually gives Audi a chance, right, to step into the NFT space as well, into the metaverse space. And just now you saw in the video, there were actually like assets. I would say assets. Let's see. Okay. So can you imagine you own things along the way? You own the dinosaurs. You own all these things. It's very amazing, right? So if one day when this thing comes out, I probably want to buy an Audi car. It may even be beneficial for Audi as well. Yeah. Okay. So enough of me shilling this. I'm not really shilling it. I'm just very excited about it. Okay. And then, okay, one very, 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 very important thing is this one has no vesting period. No vesting period. What does it mean? You can, once they list on a DEX, you can probably sell it. They have not mentioned, I don't think they have mentioned when and where will they list on a DEX. So my guess is they might list it on Maiar Exchange, maybe. We don't know yet for now. Anyone knows where will they be listed? I don't think they mentioned.
Yeah. No, I'm quite sure it's going to be on their own decks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely something that I would want to look into. So okay, so will I hold this project for longer term? I think maybe, yeah, I think high chance that this is a longer hold. So if we are looking to, they are building a technology, right? So this kind of thing takes time. Building like, okay, so you can build an iPad, but if you build the iPad without the apps, it's useless. So iPad will only take flight, right, when all the ecosystem, the apps, all of these things come in. So all these things takes time. And that's why I believe that this HoloRide is going to be more of a slightly longer term hold as compared to our usual buy and flip projects. Yeah, Brian, what do you think about it? Do you have anything to add on?
Yeah, I'm just going to share what I think about it, but just let me pull this back in first so that I can share my screen again. Yeah, I think you can stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. You guys should be able to see my screen then. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna sum it up, right? I understand we're quite long. Didn't expect it to be this long. There's a question for you, Sam. From Gobin in the chat. So I think you can address it.
The latest we can stake is 21st November. If you can, try to stake even earlier, because what is mentioned on their website is just the date. We don't know, is it UTC time or Singapore time? I would do it at least two days earlier. So the question, I actually asked one of the admin at the Maiar Launchpad Telegram chat is, where can we stake it? Can we stake it, do we stake it on any of their staking providers? And the answer is yes, we can do that. So for myself, I am already staking on, I do a quick share, okay, Brian?
Yeah. Are you going to share your screen?
Yeah, I'm sharing. Give me a minute, yeah. Okay. So when I was asking the Maiar Launchpad, right?
Sorry,
so
wait, I got to invert it a little bit. Okay.
So I have been staking with some of the providers such as the Palm Tree Network, staking agency, partners, staking Orium. So all of these are staking providers on the mobile app. And if you are already staking on them, yes, it's okay. So you don't need to, if you're the leader, do not unstake it. So those who are, let's say you're pulling it, make sure that your friends unstake theirs in time, send it to you, and then you stake it on your wallet. And then the second thing is that you also need to prepare e-gold for buying your lottery tickets. If you do not buy it, then you obviously cannot, you stick everything, then you buy again lah. Yeah. Yeah, so the quick answer to you, Gobin, is any of their sticking providers will work.
Okay, yeah, so I'm just gonna sum it up. I give you just my thoughts, okay, on why I'm so bullish about Holoride. Okay, so I think Sam already discussed a little bit on the metaverse being such a big thing, right? And we know that the NFTs are also now it's super huge, but we know that it's just going to be a small space of the entire metaverse, right? So this is an extremely new space whereby we know that VR and AR is also going to be a huge part of the metaverse experience, but after looking at so many things, right, I think this is the first thing that we are looking at. Okay, so Holoride is the first project on the Maiar Launchpad, right? So we need to be clear about that. We are not saying that Holoride is the Maiar Launchpad. So, but earlier on when we discussed, I think we already said that the Maiar Launchpad or like the Launchpad is an indication of the quality of projects that will eventually be on it. And for the fact that it's starting with one that is this big, this innovative, to me, this is a good sign. So that's the Launchpad side of things. But from the project side of things, like Sam mentioned, this is not just any project that we are discussing. This is kind of like a technology here that we are discussing, right? Whereby they are trying to bring hold on, just let me scroll down here. Yeah, whereby they are trying to bring transportation into the metaverse, which is like how someone will experience transportation, whether is it you are in a car, you are on the move, right? That whole experience will be supported by this technology that they are trying to build. And when that is part of a metaverse, I think that is huge because especially if they are first in this space, right? They are leading the way and they are partnering with the bigger brands. So that is why I'm bullish about it. Okay. Yeah, Sam, can you take over for a while? I have someone at the door.
Yeah, okay, so we have studied until the snapshot has taken. So if you were to ask me, I would and not the automatic tokens are unstable. But actually, for me, I am probably in this Maya Launchpad for some time, so I might not even unstick it because I will actually get some small amount of ego as reward. Yeah, if you want to join the future, I will have to stick again. So there is, it really depends on you want to hold it for long. Yeah, so the simple answer is let me stick it until the spectrum state.
Hey. Is that okay? Hey. Hi. Okay. Right. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Your name?
Brian.
Brian.
Yeah.
So for me, uh, well, I was actually very tempted to sell it like Brian. The ego was pumping, and I thank God I saw this launchpad lah. Yeah. So Brian, would you recommend your friends to get into ego just for this project?
I would say it's definitely worth it. I Well, it's tough, right? I can't speak for you, but I think I would probably do so, but I may pull with someone. So, like I said, um, yeah, it's something that I would look to do, but I may not go in as heavy as I would like to, simply because of the price of ego now. But like I said, it's all about being able to pool, right, and to share and to stretch your dollar as much as possible with your friends. Yeah, so yes, this project, like I explained, the whole metaverse thing and bringing a whole new experience to it is it's an interesting side of things, and I'll be looking to get in. Yeah, so let us know. Oh, so sorry, I think I was on mute, right? Yeah. So as I was saying, yeah, I would recommend for sure for you to be involved in some extent. I was saying I wouldn't get in as heavy as I would like to, simply because of the price of ego at this point in time. But I'll be looking to pool. So that's what I was saying. Yeah, Lee, I forgot to mute myself. Yeah, so
Me.
yeah, no, I didn't mute you. I'm not sure why. But anyway, yeah. So I'll be looking to pool lah. Just to be able to stretch my dollar. So that's why I say, okay, don't be afraid to reach out and say, are you looking at this as well? Do you want to pool? Yeah, because you going in on your own, if you look at the tier as a single person, you may not get as much, right? But if you have a few people that you can pull up to 10 ego, then that is already significantly going to improve your chances. So yeah, that's something for you to consider. So yeah, I guess that's about it, Sam. Do you have anything else that you wanna add
Yeah,
on?
thanks
No?
for sharing with us all of the launch pads and how
Yeah,
you
no.
do IDOs.
Yeah. So I guess in summary, right, guys, I think this went a little bit longer than what we expected, but thanks for sticking with us, right? We hope at the end of the day, as always, this is useful for you guys. We understand some might be simple content for some of you who are already more experienced, but we wanted to ensure that everybody benefits. And even as I was doing my own research on this, I thought it was interesting and I learned a lot as well. So yeah, I think we covered really quite a lot of things. What are launchpads? How do you define a good launchpad? I think that is really important and one of the key things that I just wanted to re-emphasize again. Even when we are new, I'll be no, even when we are that seasoned in the crypto space, I will say that I think a large part of my portfolio at this point in time is actually in IDOs or in launchpads. And if I had another chance to do it, I probably wouldn't have done it this way. Which is why, again, time and time again, I've been sharing with you guys to say, be careful of what you get into, because you're going to be locking up your funds for a long time, right? When you buy the tokens and you stake to gain access to the IDOs, yeah, your funds are essentially locked up. So I wouldn't have gone in so heavy into launchpads, but I thought it was the quickest way to make money, right? So I have told you that side of the story whereby it may not always be true. Okay, so learn from that. Pool, stretch your dollar. And yeah, you don't have to get into all IDOs. And now I've shared what's the best way of identifying which are the platforms that you probably want to be going into with the help of crypto rank, right? So yeah, that's really good practice for all of us, and it's something that I learned as well. Don't forget the vesting schedules. And the last part of it is we hope the Maiar Launchpad and the Holorite review worked for you guys as well, right? I think in short, it's new, it's innovative, it's exciting. Yes, we'll be looking to get into it as well, but I've just created a channel for it on our Discord as well. So let us know what you think. Like except for Gobin, who has shared why he's particularly key in this. I think I haven't heard from the rest of you as to why so. Um, So do let us know, or if you are hearing about this for the first time, let us know if you are keen, or if you are not, also do let us know, right? Because at the end of the day, both sides of the story will give us a better idea as to whether to contribute or not. So thanks much for that, and thanks for your participation as well. We'll stay on for a little bit longer, maybe yeah, I would say maybe 5 minutes at most, just to see if you guys have any questions for us. If not, I think we've taken up more than enough of your time, and we hope that at least we value added you guys. And once again, thanks for bearing with us through all the technical issues. I say it's the first time we are working with Zoom with two people on, so we'll manage that better the next time. So yeah, I think that's about it. If you guys need to go, you can drop off. But if you have any other questions, do let us know. We'll be here to chat for a little bit.
Yeah, thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks guys. Let me stop the recording. Yeah. Thanks, Gobin. I think you are really, really kind. I think you have a lot of useful information for us as well. Considering the amount of Treeverse lands that you have, that Crypto in Minutes brought up. Yeah, so do share with us as well. I hope you are in our Discord. We have a whole channel again, like I said, on Treeverse, right? So I guess some of you might be involved, some of you might be even more like experts in that space. Share with us what you know, right? Like I've shared most of the research that we have done. And also we did a Bitcoin chart analysis yesterday night. Yesterday night my time, so it was probably early morning for you guys. Malcolm did chime in as well, and it really seems like it is playing out. If you haven't looked at it, so we hope this kind of chart analysis do give you the confidence or give you the context to know of what's going on in the market, so that we sort of tell you that this might happen, and in fact it's happening, but you don't have to panic, because we expected a retracement to a certain level, and from there we think price might go up. So this will help you to time the market a little bit better, right? Like in case you were tempted to sell, now you kind of know that you don't have to. You have that confidence to hold it for a little bit longer. Yeah, so that is key. Okay, so any other questions? Thanks for all the kind words, guys. Evelyn, I hope it really, really helped. Jabir as well, thanks for that. Is there anyone else? No questions? Okay, if there's no questions, then that's all for today, guys. Thanks for joining us. We will think of something that we would want to share with you guys. If you have any ideas, just like this one, right? The Launchpad ideas came from you guys. We were thinking about Treeverse as one, but I'm not sure if that's something you are keen about. So do let us know. If it's something you are keen about, do let us know. Then we will prepare one, or we will run a vote. If not, there's also a channel in the Discord trying to request for a project or NFT review, so we know what you guys are looking at, and we can help by doing that research for you guys as well. Yeah, if not, then we will probably do the next show next Tuesday if there's no immediate topics that we'll be discussing this Thursday. We'll be taking the time, we'll edit the recording, especially this one. I think there's quite a couple of sound issues, and then we'll post it up on our channel. So for those of you who have missed it or missed part of it, you can always tune in and watch from there. Yeah, Lee, I mean, I'm so sorry. I mean, we are all in the same boat. We should have known to exit when the people who were not whitelisted also had the chance to buy. But like I said, right, you get rug pulled only for two reasons. It's either you're greedy or you didn't do the research, right, and you choose to ignore some of these signs. Yeah, so I mean it's painful, but it's a lesson learned, right? So I guess we know what to look out for, and yeah, share that experience, right, and help people along in the community, especially those who are new. I think this is something that can really be avoided. Yeah, so do let us know. We're gonna edit the videos. We're gonna post it out on our channels. The first part for Polkadot is already up, so I will be editing the second part, and then I think we'll be working on this as well, and then we'll catch up with you guys again on Tuesday again. Do give us that subscribe, please. Do give us that subscribe if you haven't done so. You are already at our channel, so just click the like button, give us that subscribe. We are 845 people away from that thousand, so do us that favor and let us know if there's anything you'd like us to cover. Okay, if not, then we will see you on next Tuesday. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.